Good morning. First time I've ever had a gavel for one of these meetings, so I thought I should use it.
Power.
I don't know about power, but it makes a lot of noise. I'm going to call to order the meeting of the Michigan State Capitol Commission for the month of July. And I'd like to start with the secretary calling the roll, please.
Chair Candler,
Here.
Vice Chair Bauer,
Here.
Mr. Bowman,
Here.
Mr. Bolin,
Here.
Mr. Brown,
Here.
Mr. Oberlin. All members are present.
Great. Thank you, everybody, for being here. Appreciate that. You guys are great at attendance. The next date we have established as a meeting date is Monday, August 28th at 11 a.m. If we need a meeting earlier with that, we could always schedule another one, but that's what we have scheduled. It's out there on our calendars now. Hopefully you guys will keep that open at this point so we can, if we need that date, we can use that date. The next issue is the approval of the June 2023 minutes. Anybody have any questions or comments about that? Do you have a motion?
So move.
Moved and second that the minutes be approved. Any questions, corrections? Without objection, the minutes will be approved unanimously. Now we come to the meat of the agenda for today. We're gonna make Rob work quite a bit today. The executive director's report is, as you can see, quite long, which shows you how much work all the staff has been doing. They've been really busy on a lot of different fronts, doing some excellent work, working with some excellent contractors that we work with. So this is really a labor of love for our employees, but it's also just a really good example of how of high quality work and preservation work when people really care about something like this and they put their heart and soul into it. So, Rob, give us your report.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you, Commissioners. I will go through this list. I don't know if necessarily in the order that's on there, but I'll first start with the decorative surface project. As you're aware, and you can see out there, the scaffolding install is totally complete. And today is a pretty monumental day. We have the entire conservation and restoration team on site doing their final evaluations. So as we speak, a majority of them are up in the scaffolding now at the oculus level, at the allegorical level, and making their final determinations of scope and what the surfaces are really, what they really look like. We also had 4 windows pulled on the 6th level today, and that is to really evaluate the UV protection that's on there so we can make our final determination of what level of UV protection to install. And within the next week, we'll start working on the fire system upgrades that I talked about on the dry system up there to make that more code compliant and bring it to the latest and greatest technology. But as I've said many times before, and I won't go through the whole story, this is a project that's been over a decade in the making. We have done a lot of work to the building in preparation for this, and it is quite exciting to be at this point. Other projects that are going on that are worth to talk about are the 3rd floor restroom project. That project has officially started. We are starting a lot of the demo this week, and then we'll start redoing the tile, re-getting into the plumbing that needs to be worked on, putting the fiberglass sleeves where the coagulation of the pipes took place. And we think this project is forecasted to finish in the end of September. We always try to beat those dates, but we think doing it the right way, we do need a little extra time that we originally forecasted of mid-September. We think end of September will let us do the job with more detail and more completion, in a completion. Heritage Hall, I'd like to talk about that a little bit. It's been about 1 year since we've opened. In that year, we have learned a lot. We have seen a lot of traffic, received plenty of accolades on this facility. So far, it's very, very popular. We know that every single state agency wants to book meetings there in addition to outside groups. We are booked 1 year out already, which is a really good thing. We are starting to meet with our groups inside, the tour guide group, our decorative painting group, our furniture and event setup group, to start evaluating what's working, what's not. We do know there is one thing that really hasn't worked from the beginning, as this commission is aware of it, the burgundy carpet in the atrium in the staterooms, which initially was hard to maintain and hard to keep clean, is consistently deteriorated. This is something that we really need to look at. Prior to this commission, we did introduce an alternative design to the last commission. So the next commission meeting, I'm going to bring those designs back for review and then talk about what it's going to take to move forward to replace that carpet and flooring in the Heritage Hall. The conversations need to take place now, because I do believe that if we decide to do this, this will take place next summer in the downtime. But with flooring and supply chain orders and everything else, we need to start thinking about this a year in advance. So look for that at the next meeting. Our exterior and interior sign stall installation. We worked on an interior sign replacement during the CIU project. We, as you're well aware, during the CIU project, we added Heritage Hall, and trying to finalize our signage project was quite a task. We did finalize it last summer, and the last commission voted on it. Those components are all coming in now. The exterior signs on the building were installed last week. At the end of this month, the brand-new signs for the interior of the Capitol will be installed. These designs will follow very closely to what we did on the interior of Heritage Hall and the exterior of the building. In fact, we originally had the interior of the Capitol building signage design fulfilled first, but we installed what we'd had in Heritage Hall first to fulfill the code requirements of signage that needs to be in place before opening a facility. The new exterior signage, we did make a couple additions which now direct traffic to the public traffic to the main doors to now help assist with our new security policies. And then there's legislator entrances, that push folks to the north and the south entrance, which is swipe access only. So the exterior signs, we hope that helps with the direction of traffic and really doesn't add as an obtrusion to the grounds, which we're trying to keep those as clean as possible. So look for those changes in the next month. We're having an operations software upgrade and integration. This is something that we started about a year ago as well, but we're in the middle of an upgrade and integration. It's a micro-based software that integrates our accounting, our event scheduling and coordination, and our tour guide scheduling all in one package. So before we had 3 different softwares, it had 3 different maintenance requirements. So we've been working with the Legislative Service Bureau IT, as well as our contract software, HSO, with the customization and design of the software. It is our goal to have this project finishing in November, testing the software this December, and going live on January 1st of 2024. So far, we've had great feedback and great meetings of tying this in. It's a Microsoft-based product, so it kind of ties in most of the other software packages that we have on our system. So again, we're trying to make it a little bit easier for everyone who works here to tie in all the, integrate all their activities into one software package. The first floor west doors, restoration and repair. It is time for us to work on those. As you remember, these historical doors were unfortunately a target of vandalism earlier this year. We held off on the repairs until the scaffolding was installed, because that was the entrance we brought all the scaffolding into the dome, as well as we want to make sure that the perpetrator of the vandalism was apprehended before we proceeded with our repairs. Both of those have taken place, and we are in the process of receiving our final proposals for the work, and that work will be done and executed as soon as we get finalized those pricing. We do anticipate those being out for a couple months. But again, this is the entrance and exit for the scaffolding. We thought it was a great time, since those doors are kind of not in use anyway at this time. The north and south pediment lighting. So during the CIU project, we elected to light the pediments on the east and west sides of the building. And they really, really look nice. Matter of fact, every morning when I turn on the morning news, and I just basically watch the morning news to make sure all the lights are working, and all, you can see those, and those are really a center point of the building now. At the time, we decided not to do the north and the south. It was more of a economical decision not to do it at the time, but also we didn't think that those sides got as big a view. Lo and behold, we built Heritage Hall and cleared the grounds on the south side, which is now becoming a prominent view as well. We think it was time to add the pediment lighting to the north and the south. Those lights have been purchased. The contractors have them. Since they're LEDs, what they do, they burn them for a month to make sure there's no glitches in it. And by the end of August, prior to Labor Day weekend, those will be installed. So all 4 sides of the Capitol have the pediments lit up. So it's going to add to the view of the building. Weapons detection system installation, training, and testing, the topic everyone is wanting to hear about. Anyway, we'll start the installation of our new Evolve pass-through systems that we elected to purchase on Tuesday, August 8th, next week. We'll start the testing and training of these systems immediately and have training on August 10th available to our House, Senate, and Michigan State Police and our staff. And then we're going to spend the rest of the month of August perfecting our approach on how they're used, working through the kinks in the systems, and basically really giving them a true test to what their capabilities are or not. If everything is successful, we will plan on going live. It's all depending upon when the policy is voted on. We can go live hopefully as early as the day after Labor Day holiday, and then we'll be ready to go. The reason we pick those dates is primarily because that's when the legislature returns from their summer break, as well as that's when most of the children of the school troops start coming back. So those will be our largest crowds coming back. And again, we're doing this to improve the security of the building and reducing the risk of any catastrophes moving forward. So as I look over my list, I think I've covered most of the items that I want to touch base with today, and I am open for questions.
I just had one thing. I went on the equipment for the security systems. It's actually a lease, right, not purchase? It's a lease, not a purchase?
That is correct, I'm sorry. Yes, it's an annual lease for the Evolve pass-through systems.
Anybody else have any questions?
Three quick questions or comments. First of all, I want to commend you on the looks of the grounds now that you fixed the irrigation issues we had. They look beautiful. This looks absolutely beautiful.
Thank you.
Second and third thing regarding the fourth floor. Thank you for covering up that beautiful toilet bowl display we had sitting out there. I went up there several times on the fourth floor before it was covered, and there were tourists up there, and I kind of wanted to tell them there was a modern art display that we had out there for them. But thank you for doing that. That's good. And also, but on the fourth floor, I noticed that there are people up there, and the scaffolding is fairly accessible. Are they going to find a way to kind of block that off on the fourth floor? Because
Absolutely. Today was a final assessment day, and there'll be safety netting, safety doors put in certain places that be like a regular construction site. You'll see a white paneled door. We call it our Swift walls, and then after hours, they'll be locked. So it'll be a lot more difficult for the general public to get in there.
Thank you.
So thank you, too.
Joe?
And I have to say, because I think everyone knows I had a lot of concerns and consternation about the garage project, even though I knew it had to be done and it was so important functionally. I have to say, it looks really good. And it's attractive. The view, from the, what is that, from the
north.
north, looks, it's really, you said it would be, and you were right. But I wanted to commend everybody, the people who designed it. It really looks good, so thank you.
Well, I'm glad to hear that. And again, I can't take the credit. I have to pass that on to Quinn Evans and Crispin for that, because I sold it pretty good because they told me it would be good, but I had worries at times myself. So I'm glad it turned out as good as it did.
Be safe. Any other comments or questions? Thank you, Rob. Appreciate your report.
Thank you, too.
The next item on our agenda, it goes along with the item that Rob said everybody wants to hear about, and that's the procedures. Or as you know, we call our quote, rules for the Capitol building procedures. It's to distinguish them from administrative rules or Senate rules or House rules. We came up originally with a term of procedures, and so we call our rules, our operation rules, procedures. And of course, in order to accomplish a security situation in the Capitol building, we have to have a set of procedures that says who can come in, who can't, how it's going to work, et cetera. And we spent quite a bit of time on this. It's particularly John Bowman, who is, of course, a drafter par excellence. That's what he's done for his whole life. So we're really fortunate to have him here. So I'm going to ask John to kind of walk through the security procedure draft that we have so far and kind of explain what it's all about, how it's going to work. And if you have any questions, commissioners, after that, let me know. We can answer them. John, you want to go ahead?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. We've released today are a draft of a security policy. We do not intend to vote on this today. We intend to continue to seek input with hopefully a vote on it at the next meeting. So you are welcome to submit additional comments to us. But I want to walk through it to let you know where we're at and how we got to where we're at. We have reached out to the Attorney General's office. We've reached out to the Michigan State Police. We've reached out to the Sergeant at Arms for both the Senate and the House. And as the chair mentioned, this is designed to work hand in hand with the new weapons detection system. So let me walk through where we're at and give you a little bit of context for how we landed at this point in time. The first part is an introduction, outlines the authority of the Capitol Commission to operate and manage the Michigan State Capitol Historic Site, which includes the Capitol building, obviously. And that in conjunction with that authority, our obligation to provide for the safety of those many, many visitors that we receive, those school children that we welcome to our building, and to the many people who work here on a daily basis. I might note that the Attorney General has opined that the Capitol Commission does in fact have the authority to regulate firearms within the Capitol building. So we're acting on that authority, and we are taking the lead from the Michigan Supreme Court, which has adopted a weapons, a prohibition on weapons in courts in the state as yet another sensitive area where it's recognized by law that there's authority to limit firearms. So we start out with definitions. Capitol building, we wanted to clarify Capitol building to make sure that everyone understands that includes the Heritage Hall addition, includes the maintenance garage, includes all indoor buildings within the Capitol Historic Site. And we also clarified that it does not include the grounds. This policy does not include the grounds of the state capitol. Capitol security means the enforcement members of the Michigan State Police, sergeants at arms of the Michigan Senate, and sergeants at arms of the Michigan House of Representatives. We are relying heavily on our Capitol security team to administer and implement this policy. Explosives, we borrow that term from the Michigan Vehicle Code. Firearm, we borrow that term from the State Firearms Act. Paragraph 2 outlines the substantive provision that we're talking about. Weapons are not permitted in the Capitol building. Weapons include firearms, explosives, and other items identified by Capitol security that pose a potential security threat and that are not reasonably necessary to be possessed within the Capitol building. That one might jump out at you. Why is this worded the way it is? After conversations with Capitol Facility and our review of definitions of weapons, they noted that a lot of items that our facility staff uses on a regular basis, our contractors use, things like hammers, X-Acto knives, nail guns, those things are needed by both our staff and by the contractors who work to maintain this building, and yet could fall with some definitions of what a weapon is. So context matters in this case. So we're asking our Capitol security staff to be that sort of that safeguard. If a construction worker comes through with an X-Acto knife working on carpet on the 3rd floor, that they need to be allowed to do that. However, a member of the general public does not need an X-Acto knife. So they're going to be our sort of take a look at those things, use the context, and keep the items out that could be considered weapons and allow items in that are needed to do our job here. The prohibition contained in paragraph 2, the substantive provision, doesn't apply to our Capitol security. Doesn't apply to active duty law enforcement officers licensed under the Michigan Commission on Law Enforcement Standards Act, if the officer is in uniform or otherwise properly identified by Capitol security. Active duty agents from the federal enforcement agencies such as the FBI, as authorized by Capitol security, and private security personnel carrying out official business within the Capitol building who receive pre-authorization from Capitol security. We were informed that that certain, the Supreme Court and certain governmental officials actually use private security, so we needed a way to allow them to continue to do their job, but meet our security needs within the Capitol building. Number 4, for purposes of keeping weapons from entering the Capitol building, all individuals and objects are subject to screening by Capitol Security upon entering the Capitol building, just putting notice out to the public. You're subject to screening when you come into this building. The executive director of the commission shall arrange for posting of a notice at all entrances to the Capitol building that states no weapons are permitted within the Capitol building. All individuals entering the Capitol building are subject to the policies and procedures of the Michigan State Capitol Commission. And then we included an effective date provision. This policy is effective 3 days after the executive director of the commission provides written notice to the Senate Majority Leader, Senate Minority Leader, Speaker of the House, the Minority Leader of the House, and the Governor that the weapons detection system for the Capitol building has been installed and is operational. So this is where we're at right now. We're continuing to receive input. We have received some additional input from the state police, which we will be taking a look at. And again, we are hoping to put this in place at our next meeting. Any questions from commission members?
Thank you, John. Great work. Appreciate it. Commissioners, any questions? None? Well, great. Good job. No questions. And John has done quite an extensive amount of work on it. As he mentioned, we've checked with a lot of people, and other commissioners up here also have made input. In fact, everybody has. So I appreciate the work of everybody in this commission putting all this together, and the work you continue to do as we move toward implementation. No other questions? I'm surprised. Any other business anybody on the commission has to bring forward that we didn't talk about yet? New business? Okay. None? This time, anyone wishing to make public comment? And by the way, we do have cards here. If people want to submit anything in writing, you can do that also. Feel free to do that, please. No public comment? None? Great. Yes, I'd entertain a motion to adjourn. So moved. Tim? And Mr. Clerk, second? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Meeting's adjourned. Thank you.